What's up, Trek Nation, and welcome back to After the Snap. It's me, Tasha Pierce, and I am back with Season 3, Episode 5, Imposters, a recap and review. The episode goes a little something like this. Caught by Starfleet and facing court-martial, paranoia grows as Picard struggles to uncover whether a prodigal crewman from his past has returned as an ally or an enemy, hell-bent on destroying them all. If you haven't watched Season 3, Episode 5, Imposters, what are you even doing? Get on it, then come back to finish this review because you know I'm dropping spoilers right off the bat. Everybody else, let's go. 2 words jumped out at me with this description: prodigal crewman. Now, if you've subscribed with your notifications on, then you may have seen a little video I put out detailing who I thought the returning character might be. In it, I described why it could be nobody but Ro Laren. In the episode, it did not surprise me to see Ro at all, and I knew there would be some powerhouse moments between her and Picard. I wasn't at all disappointed. But before we get there, we need to talk about Jack. In a Starfleet uniform, we saw him enter the bridge and methodically execute the entire crew. Pop, 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 pop. And then before he hit Esmar with the kill shot, she turned and said, "I know what you are." Pop. Turns out, this was just another of his waking nightmares, but interestingly, he had a phaser in his hand as he had this nightmare. Now, Picard, Riker, and Seven are preparing to face the music with Starfleet after Shaw regained control of the USS Titan. While they await the arrival of the USS Intrepid with its security team, they discuss how a changeling gained access to the Titan. In the scene, it seems like Shaw has returned to his old asshole ways, but before he leaves Picard, Riker, and Seven to get their quote-unquote bullshit story straight, we realize that he does still have some type of respect for these men. Maybe possibly because they faced death together and won, but he definitely seems to be more impressed with them than he was the first time we saw him with Riker and Picard. After having an aside with Beverly and Jack, Picard does try to talk Jack into joining Starfleet. Jack kind of shoots him down, and you can see that there was a bit of disappointment with Picard, but he didn't push the issue. Beverly also asked if it was okay for her to examine the remains of this changeling because she needs to know how this changeling got on board the Titan. So Beverly and Dr. Oak examine the remains. They find out it was not only able to mimic the whole superficial qualities, but it had also begun to replicate all of the innards too. Now, this is some new-ish. I recently did a video all about the changelings as we knew them from DS9, and in it I talked about Odo's explanation of changelings' abilities. He said changelings could replicate a person well enough to pass a tricorder exam. It appears Metalis and the writers of Picard Season 3 have scaled that back a bit, but we still are seeing an evolution of the changeling, and that makes sense. As Starfleet and the Federation of Planets develop new means of detecting them, the changelings would develop better ways to blend in. They were always experts at genetic manipulation, and this might just be another sign of that, or it could just be something else. We still got 5 episodes to find out. So one of the means of detection that Starfleet has created was internal imaging scans, but we now know that the changelings learned to work around that. In essence, anyone could be a changeling. And before Beverly is able to alert Picard and the others of their findings, the Intrepid arrives and sends the security detail over to the Titan in a shuttle. Now, I don't know about you, but my spidey senses started to tingle when I caught that bit. Why are they avoiding the transporter? Of course, we know now that even if they went through the transporter, that 9 times out of 10, they were not going to be detected. But based on the knowledge that we had from DS9, avoiding that transporter seemed really, really big in that moment. And of course, to my delight and Picard's horror, Commander Ro Laren is leading the security detail. It's been 30 years since Ro defected from Starfleet and the last time she saw Picard. To begin with, it seemed like she was doing a straightforward interrogation and ignoring the history between her and Picard. She knew about the changeling on board the Titan, so she cut her hand to prove she was herself. Of course, this is when Beverly alerts Picard that the blood test doesn't work anymore, and then he begins to immediately side-eye Ro. Now, under the guise of going to see the changeling body, Ro points a phaser at Picard and ushers him into the holodeck. So now we're in the 10 forward holodeck where Picard sneakily turns off the safety protocols. It was far easier than it used to be to turn these safety protocols off, by the way. But he went behind the bar and he arms himself with the phaser that Guinan stores behind the bar in Los Angeles and on the Enterprise. And now he and Ro are aiming phasers at one another. And then we get another powerful emotion-filled scene progress between these two characters. Picard says he's been waiting 30 years to have this conversation with Ro. He spoke to her in her native Bajoran. Ro explained to him that he basically pushed her into joining the Maquis. He was trying to form her in his own image. And Picard finally admitted that he saw so much in her that it broke his heart when she left. And she tells him, "You broke my heart too." Phasers lowered. Phasers lowered. Now we know that we're both dealing with some very humanoid emotions. So this is not something that the changelings could drum up on their own. This is something real between these two people. Now we can get down to business. There's no question that they are who they purport to be. So Ro tells Picard that the changelings have compromised Starfleet all the way up to the highest levels. She doesn't trust anyone. Picard throws out a couple of names to include Janeway. She even says Janeway's closest confidants may be changelings. Now, this is the third mention of Janeway in 5 episodes. I almost expect her to pop up like Candyman at this point, but we shall see if we get a Kate Mulgrew cameo. Anywho, Ro advises Picard that she has had all non-essential personnel beamed over to the Intrepid. The Titan has a skeleton crew of hopefully non-changelings. So at this point, he needs to run. In the mean and in between, the other members of Ro's security detail are definitely changelings. And they are pissed that Ro is going to head back to the Intrepid without Jack Crusher. And when they get back on the shuttle, the security changelings install a bomb and then beam right back to the Titan. That means there's another changeling in the transporter room, right? Anywho, Ro hails the Titan to warn them, and the Titan attempts to get Ro off of that shuttle. They want to beam her back to the Titan, but the bomb is fitted with a transport inhibitor. Ro is stuck. But leaning on her experience with the Maquis, she uses this moment to inflict pain on the enemy. Her last act is flying that shuttle right into the Intrepid's nacelle, hindering its ability to give chase to the Titan. In her words, she gave Picard what he once gave her, a fighting chance. And just like that, she was gone. But we ain't seen nobody. But if she is indeed gone, what a beautiful send-off for the Rolaren character. Now, Shaw's dumbass still needed more proof that the Intrepid was a threat, and he got it when they were ordered to surrender while the Intrepid started powering up its weapons. Just as they fired torpedoes at the Titan, it warped to safety. Now, this week we also saw the return of Worf Ayala. Worf and Raffi are awaiting word from Worf's handler, so Worf had asked for access to figure out what else was stolen from the Daystrom station. And by the end of the episode, we learned his handler was Rolaren. Worf suspected somebody besides Ro had answered his query because it was denied. So Worf and Raffi head back to District 6 on Mentalis Prime to seek out Kryn, a known associate of Sneed. So they plan to shake him down for more information on the stolen item. Kryn is played by another 12 Monkeys alum, Kirk Acevedo. After some clever subterfuge from Worf, Kryn hands over a key that will help them get around the sophisticated AI guarding Daystrom Station. Now, I'll have a video coming Tuesday about what I think that AI is. Key in hand, Worf and Raffi attempt to contact Ro to inform her of their findings, but her comm is answered by Picard, and Worf is surprised. I guess I should have mentioned that Ro gave her Bajoran earring to Picard. He couldn't figure out why, but Riker realized it was some old school spycraft. She had equipped this earring with a data chip with hundreds of documents detailing her investigation. Last but not least, Jack encountered 4 changelings that infiltrated the Titan. They were prepared to beam him off the ship when Jack went full Winter Soldier on their asses. he was activated, his eyes glowed red, and he quickly whipped their asses in that tight corridor. And y'all know how I feel about close quarter, hand-to-hand combat. It's a lovely dance that people do in these small quarters, and Jack is an expert on his feet. We got a much better view of that red door and the vines covering the walls. In the end, he killed all 4 of the changelings. But what the hell is going on with Jack? What's going on with Jack? I guess I should mention that so that he could blend in with the rest of the crew on the Titan, Seven had given Jack a uniform. So Jack is just like in his vision, dressed in a Starfleet uniform, killing some what looks like Starfleet officers. Now, they weren't the bridge crew, so I'm wondering if that's something that's going to happen in the future. But Jack is being overtaken by something in this moment, and it's still, there's a big question of what the hell is going on with Jack. Now, if you'd like to discuss theories on a deeper level, join me here on my channel on Sundays at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, where we do this. We discuss theories. We talk more about the episode, expound on some of the thoughts that we had about those episodes, but we also discuss where we think things may be going. So join me. This red carpet is rolled out. I'm inviting you. Now, while Shaw is really impressed with Jack, Beverly knew something was wrong. As only a mother could, she knew he hadn't been sleeping. She told him about nightmares that he used to suffer from as a child, and Jack, in that moment, confirmed something was wrong with him. Of course, I think she knew that. I think Beverly knows far more than she's letting on. As the story progresses, I'm sure we're going to find out Beverly did something to Jack. And I'm not talking like something bad. I'm saying she did something that she thought in the course of being a good mother was a good idea, and that it really probably wasn't. But we'll see. Hopefully we learn a whole lot more about what's going on in next week's episode entitled Bounty. The episode description for Bounty is, now on the run, Picard and the skeleton crew of the USS Titan must break into Starfleet's most top secret facility to expose a plot that could destroy the Federation. Picard must turn to the only soul in the galaxy who can help, an old friend. I'm unsure of who this old friend is. Who is the only soul in the galaxy who can help Picard in this situation? Trust and believe, when my head hits the pillow tonight, that is what I'm going to be trying to figure out. Who is the old friend that Picard can trust? I got ideas. I do have ideas, but I'm not going to let those loose today. Holla at me on Sunday. Now, we know the group on the Titan plan to meet up at Daystrom Station with Worf and Raffi from the La Sirena. So I hope I'm correct in assuming Geordi and Deanna will meet us there as well. Geordi has a daughter on the Titan. Deanna's husband is on the Titan. They may want to meet up with their loved ones, and that puts all of them together in the same place. It's about time to bring the entire gang together to understand exactly what we're up against in these last 5 episodes. But this week's episode was another banger. I enjoyed the Roll Picard reunion, although short. I liked the Raffi and Worf B-plot, even though it still served to slow things down a little bit more than what I was willing to concede. I wanted the things to stay at the pace that they were on the Titan, but I understand we got to get everybody in one place, and this was the best way to do it. No Vadic. No Vadic was a bummer, but not enough to throw the entire episode off. I loved seeing more of Jack's visions and how he was activated against the Changelings. Theories abound about the cause of those visions and the voices that go along with them. And on my scale from 1 to 5, this one gets a 4.9. Maybe next week I'll enter the 5 phase of the season. This was another stellar episode, but again, the Worfy plot. The Worfy plot slowed things down just a little bit for this episode. 4.9 is still damn near perfection. So what did you think of Imposters? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this recap/review, tap that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn notifications to the on position so you won't miss Tuesday's upload or Sunday's live stream. Now, if you really want to make my day, slide me a super thanks or become a channel member by hitting that join button, like these fine folks. Thank you again for joining me this week. I will see you in the next one. Live long and prosper. Peace.